As we get closer to the start of the school year, every day here on News 3 Now this morning, we're bringing you some special back-to-school reports. And today we're talking about learning pods. They're essentially small groups of students who get together with a private teacher instead of going to a traditional school.
This is appealing to parents who want extra academic support and some structure for their kids who might not be getting that with virtual education. It's also an option for those who need some extra help with childcare.
Not all pods will look the same or will be the same price. I talked to one Wanakee mom on why she believes learning pods could be an answer to her family's questions.
How will this affect, in a positive way, our kids' mental health?
Jennifer Tasker is a mom of 2 teens in Wanakee. She's spent the summer connecting with others in that district through Facebook groups to see what families are looking at for the upcoming school year.
It was simply an easy mechanism within the community to bring parents of the same aged kids together.
Tasker knows that isolation earlier this spring was necessary, but she says her 2 kids going into 7th and 9th grade this year are still feeling the effects of that loneliness.
That isolation was temporary, and that isolation in and of itself has actually had harmful consequences, which includes the deterioration of my kids' mental health.
After doing some research and talking with other parents, Tasker is turning to learning pods.
The idea of the learning pod is about creating that safe and controlled environment for our kids to socialize and interact with their peers.
She says her family is still in the planning stage as guidelines continue to change.
We're looking at maybe 4 to 5 kids, because we're running our pod by Dane County health standards.
The pods will incorporate other health guidelines, including the use of masks and social distancing, but a lot still needs to be worked out.
It's unfortunate that so much is up in the air right now, but I believe pods and creating that environment for our kids provides a level of certainty, which then provides a level of positive benefit for their mental health in this uncertain time.
Tasker knows that learning pods aren't the end-all be-all answer, and she hopes school will be able to fully reopen sooner rather than later. But for now, they're working with what they've got. If you've got a question about pods, we've posted a link to a group that could help you on our website. And guys, I think the really interesting thing is here, obviously academics are important, but I think you forget about that social aspect of things, because at that age you're learning to work with others, you're learning to communicate with others, and obviously if you're stuck at home by yourself, you're not getting that. You're not gaining those skills.
And that's what a lot of the experts have been saying is we need to get kids back in schools or back in some sort of social setting because they've missed out on that for so long, and it's so critical to their development.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, she had said, Tasker had mentioned, you know, if they're working with their peers, they can learn from each other too as far as problems go. How did you problem solve to be able to get to the answer that you are, rather than just like trying to figure it out without having that extra guidance there?
You have some teenagers.
I think it's interesting. Parents are just really trying to find what works for their family and how to help their kids be successful in this very odd time. It's very weird not to go to school.
So. Are you guys considering them?
We've looked into it. We haven't really set anything up yet, but I think it's an interesting idea to sort of help you manage all the classes that your kids have. You know, I mean, when they get into high school, they have 7 different classes.
Right.
So.
And that's the crazy thing is, like, a lot of people are still talking about it. We're, what, a few weeks away from this starting, and even Jennifer had mentioned in the story, we don't really know what it's going to look like yet because every day things are changing so quickly. So I think it's going to be one of those things where we kind of learn, see what works, what doesn't, and we're all doing the same thing. So
part 2 of this conversation is access to the technology, to the resources to put together these learning pods. Not everybody has the same access, particularly folks who might be in rural areas without broadband internet, and also families of color. So we're going to be diving into that topic that's coming up tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and I mean, these pods, some of them cost money. I mean,
yes.
You got to pay to get into them, and a lot of folks out there during these hard times don't have the extra money to cough up for something like a learning pod. So that's impacting the decisions as well. I'm glad we're taking really deep dives into some of these bigger issues. We're going to be doing special stories like this every day for the next 3 weeks until the start of the school year.